time for the Sid and Julie Chase NoBull Money Hour. The next 60 minutes will be filled with information about real estate and alternative investment ideas, business news, the wealthy lifestyle, and entertainment. Now, here are your hosts of the show, Sid and Julie Chase.
Good morning, Myrtle Beach. You're at the right place at the right time. Welcome to your NoBull Money Hour show with myself, Julie, and my handsome husband here, Sid.
I'll pay you later for saying that. Thank you, though. I appreciate it. And good morning, everybody. Hopefully everybody's going to have a good Sunday. And let's see, what are we going to say today? We're going to do a little call-ins. If you'd like to, you can call in at 843-839-9950. We do have a guest on this morning. Don't want to say too much about who it is yet, but it is going to be an interesting show, something that everybody's going to want to listen to. And again, it's 843-839-9950. We have somebody manning the Facebook page today, so hopefully that goes well. So if you have any questions on Facebook, go ahead and answer, and we'll try to get those asked, and we'll get those answered for you. Real quick, I wanted to, before we start our normal
Routine?
our routine, yeah. So two things I would like to bring up. One is, it's Prostate Cancer Awareness Week.
Oh,
Yes.
I didn't know that.
September 17th through September 24th.
Okay.
And did you know that in 1989, were you born yet?
Yes,
Barely. Before the creation of the National Prostate Health Month, the week of September 17th through the 24th was chosen as Prostate Cancer Awareness Week. So that's kind of when it all got started.
Very nice.
So men out there and wives,
Yes.
get yourselves checked. Also, wives, mothers, daughters,
Encourage.
get your male counterparts to go get checked. And
It's very important to do it ahead of time.
trust me, from somebody who knows,
Yes.
get it done.
Yes.
Okay, and then the other thing I want to do real quickly, and she's probably watching on Facebook, is Kathy, we're with you today on your loss.
Yes.
Okay, so what's the show going to be about today, Julie?
Today, identifying loans and finding sources of money.
Ooh, that's always a good thing, finding sources of money.
But before we
Alright.
get started on that, let's get everyone started with this week's market brief. Fill us in, Sid.
Well, this coming week, last week was pretty boring if we remember correctly. There wasn't a whole lot going on, so we're not even going to worry about talking about any of that again this week.
Good idea.
So, but this coming week is very, very busy week in the economic reports.
Monday?
Monday is the housing market index. So basically what that is the National Association of Home Builders. Since the beginning of the year, the housing market has been on the rise. We all kind of know that. We've been
Right.
talking about it every single weekend. And we talked about last weekend that we're going to see a little bit of a new home sales drop a little bit. But we also know that there's some new homes coming on the market pretty soon here. And actually our guest spoke about that in his weekly newsletter.
He did.
He did. He's not bad. he's got his act together. Tuesday is the FOMC meeting.
The F-O what?
FOMC. So basically that is the Federal Open Market Committee. Yeah, sorry about that, folks. They actually do meet about 8 times a year, and to determine the near-term direction of monetary policy. And
Why do we care about that?
you want to know?
Yeah.
Okay. They determine the interest rate policy, and this occurs roughly about 6 times a year also. So the housing starts and permits have been soft in the last 3 of the last 4 reports, which we've kind of talked about a little bit.
I don't think that applies too much to this area, does it?
Well, we're booming here in Myrtle Beach. There's a lot of houses being built.
The whole Grand Strand, I believe.
Yeah, and we are. It is a little soft, and again, as our guest spoke about in his newsletter, and we've spoken about it, there is a little, it's not quite enough new homes on the market today.
Gotcha.
A lot of people are coming down from the Northeast or wherever they're coming down from, and they're wanting, more of them want to have a house that's within 2 months of being completed, or they want one that's completely done. You know,
Gotcha.
around here, things take, you know, on an average, 6-7 months it takes for us to build a home.
Right.
You know, now if you're building with, ooh, I better not say that.
Yeah.
If
We're
you're
more
building
custom.
with somebody in particular, a few of them, the larger folks, they can get them done in about 4 months or so.
Yeah.
But they're not quality.
Like ours.
There we go. All right, so the next thing's going on is the red book.
Red book.
I used to have a black book in school.
We don't want to hear about your black book.
No?
Cindy.
Okay. Yeah, I still have the black book, but you're the only number in it.
Well, thank you.
You are welcome. So the red book is a weekly measure of comparable store sales. And so when we talk about stores, what we're talking about is your chain stores, your larger stores. So like Costco or Walmart or Sam's, any of the larger chain stores.
And why do we care about that?
The pattern in the consumer spending is often the foremost influence on the stock market and bonds. So we want to know how those stores are doing for their sales.
Gotcha.
Because if people
Okay.
are spending, normally
Oh,
people
yes.
spend when the economy is good.
That's right.
Right, so when they start to slow down, they get a little nervous, that's usually a heads up, telltale sign that the
Okay.
market in the future is gonna drop a little bit.
That makes
So,
sense.
yeah.
Okay.
So, and on Wednesday, I told you we had a busy week. On Wednesday, we have existing home sales. So existing home sales are houses that are already on the market, you know, older homes. And we have the EIA Petroleum Status Report. Want to know what that is?
Yes, please.
Okay, so
Share
it's
with me.
Energy Information Administration. So basically what they do is they provide a weekly information on the petroleum inventories in the U.S.
Okay.
So the level of the inventory helps determine prices for petroleum products.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
and then we have
That FO thing again.
yes. So they meet on Tuesday to
Yes.
discuss, and then on Wednesday they do their announcement.
Okay.
And so the announcement is going to be about the interest rates, whether they're raising them or not raising them. And I'm going to stand my ground,
Okay.
as I've been saying on since the beginning of the show, that they are not going to raise those interest rates.
Cross your fingers.
They're not going to do it.
Okay.
Actually, I think our guest will know what's going
I saw
on
him
for
shake
sure.
his head no.
Yeah. So, and just so you know, my crystal ball is broken, and I'm assuming his is too. So, but you never know. But
That's
I believe
true.
that's not going to happen, and I think they actually dropped a little bit last week. Maybe they're back down under 4%, I think. So, which is a good thing. So get out there and buy that new home.
That's right.
All right.
Do it
so
now, Lexi.
Thursday is jobless claims again, and the EIA also gives out their natural gas report. So
Okay.
that's kind of important because we're coming into that winter time.
Right. Yeah.
Right,
You
so we
talked
want to
about
know
that.
about the inventory levels for natural gas, which obviously in the U.S. we have a lot of natural gas now, but
We
it's still,
shared that last show.
yeah, but we still want to know what's going on
Right,
with them,
right.
and especially if you're an investor in the gas markets, you want to know your inventory levels. And then Friday is zero. I mean, there's really nothing important going on Friday. So with the power invested in me, I'm giving everybody a day off. there's
Everybody
no-
gets a day off.
Yeah, nothing's going on. Everybody can take the day off. Yep. Okay, so
You-
that's
you
it
know
for me.
Lexi's sitting over here and she's like, I get Friday off. Yes.
That was only for people that are retired,
Oh.
within a month of retirement, or are investing in stocks because it's a down day. So
Oh,
it's
that's
only,
the
it's
day
only
off.
those people.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
I had to clarify that.
All right, well, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to speak with our special guest, and we're taking calls, so please call in 843-839-9950.
That's good. About 10 minutes.
With more than
That gave us that extra 3 minutes.
If they've got issues, you might just don't worry about it.
Yeah, I've got this video.
On theirs. Each member of the team brings a unique set
I don't
of
know what it
skills,
is.
but
I
they
had to
all
go
have
back over
one
there and start it
common
up.
difference, the passion for home building and a commitment to the
From-
homeowner. With
don't-
online
for
client
some
access,
reason
you'll
only did
love
it for a
building
few
your
minutes.
new home. All the details of your
We'll get
custom
it figured
home
out. We
during
need to
construction
do like
will
maybe our
light your
practice
fingers.
runs on it.
Chase Signature Homes looks forward
that or steal Rayleigh's bag?
Where is Max?
Who's on? Who's on, Lexi? Anybody?
Yes. Sharon Fortner's on. Sharon Fortner. She's, yeah.
Hi, Sharon.
Everybody in the house is still sleeping, though.
Without spending thousands of dollars to remodel? Give it a fresh coat of paint. Have you just moved into a home and come to the realization you didn't like the previous owner's taste in color?
Somebody's giving us some thumbs
Give it
up.
a fresh coat of paint. Was the last
Everything
time you
sounded good.
painted a year that started in 19? Yes.
It's usually the right hand
Yeah.
over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything sounded good.
Like I said, if I come in and adjust the mics
No
just
job
for me.
is too big or too small.
Did he even notice or did you ever?
I said it first before he noticed that I wanted to have a preemptive strike. So, yeah.
Good job, Dave.
315-871-9313. Have you wanted to get your home professionally painted but were afraid you couldn't afford it? You can. Give it a fresh coat of paint with Straight Edge Painting. Call JC today at Straight Edge Painting or look them up on Facebook. We're back with more of the NoBull Money Hour on Hot Talk 99.5.
Welcome back, everyone. Just a reminder, you can call in at 843-839-9950. Now we are going to speak with our special guest, Max Neubauer, and he is from
Gateway Mortgage Group. So he's a mortgage loan officer.
Welcome, Max.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
So Max, I did a little research on you that you probably didn't know, but I used to be a private investigator for about 8 years. I worked for
Is
the
that where we
special
learned it
police.
from, Lexi?
Worked for the as a special police officer in Maryland, Washington, and Virginia. So I got a lot of dirt on you, buddy.
I'll say whatever you want me to.
Okay. Because I know there's the other half is probably listening this morning, and if she isn't just listening and wants to actually watch your facial expressions, you can go to our Facebook page, Sid Chase, at Facebook, and you can watch the show live, everybody. But Max is a graduate of West Virginia University. I didn't even know West Virginia had a university there, so it's just a tiny state, right?
It's fairly large.
Yeah, it's larger than
But,
you think, I think.
but they have a good college football team.
Home of the Mountaineers.
Yes, sir. Hoo-ah,
Woo.
hoo-ah. Right? And some of Max's experience, and you can fill in, Max, if I've missed everything. Doubt it. He was a loan officer for Bank of America, First United Bank and Trust. He did merchant sales for BB&T, and finance director for
Michael Oliverio.
Michael Oliverio for Congress. So
That's pretty awesome.
I'm curious about that. So can you tell us just a little bit about how you ended up falling into that
Yeah,
slot?
Michael and I worked at Northwestern Mutual together. He was a financial advisor, and we were kind of upset with the way things were going in West Virginia, so he decided to make a run for the 1st Congressional District of the U.S. Congress in Morgantown. So he needed someone with some financial experience to help manage his campaign, so I was the guy behind the scenes doing all the numbers and keeping track with the books and everything for the run for Congress.
And
pretty awesome.
Did he win or lose?
He was the big upset for the primary. He knocked out the long-seated congressman at that time, but then come the general election, he did lose by just a few votes.
Bummer. That would have been a big, huge.
Yeah, it would have been definitely a career change
Yeah.
moving to DC.
Exactly. Yep. So we're going to talk a little bit today about identifying loans and finding sources of money, as we talked about earlier. So the first thing we're going to really talk about this morning is more mortgage-related things with Max. And so my first question to you, Max, is how much can a person afford? How do they know what they can afford when they're looking for a home?
My advice for this when it comes down to it is before you even start the job search process, you need to sit down, if it's just you buying the home or you and a spouse, and do a budget. A budget is the most important because you need to know how much you feel comfortable affording. If you call a mortgage lender, they'll run through the numbers for qualifying for the mortgage of what you can't afford. In that Gateway mortgage, most programs can go up to 50% of your debt to income ratio. So the amount of debt you owe versus the amount of money you make can go up to 50%. Just because you can go to 50% doesn't mean you and your family can afford a mortgage payment of 50%.
Right.
So that's a big misconception. A loan officer might say, well, yeah, based on the numbers, it looks like you can afford this loan with no problem. But that loan officer doesn't know that you might give your grandparents money, or they don't know what kind of medical expenses you have. They don't know the back details of that information. And another thing to consider when you're going to do that, just because you know your mortgage payment, if you've ran a mortgage calculation, that doesn't take into consideration property taxes, homeowners insurance, especially in the Myrtle Beach area, HOA, homeowners association fees. So you might think you're good with a mortgage payment of $1,000, but then once you add those other three factors in there, all of a sudden you could be up near $1,400 and buying a home that is just going to stretch your wallet too tight.
I think the average, and correct me if I'm wrong, because there's a big variable there, but the average debt to income ratio is normally somewhere around the 29 to 35%.
That's ideal for the housing expense.
Okay.
So not counting credit cards, car payments, things like
Just
that.
for
the housing
Okay,
ratio, yeah, that's the target area.
that's the target number.
But nowadays, more and more folks in the country are very debt heavy. So now, just about most files are all breaking that 50%, just because people are maxing out their debt.
So that brings up another question. So that you just said that most people are debt heavy. So is that because they did not learn from the last time? Or is it because they're still in debt from the last crash and the market turned down?
A little bit of both. A lot of buyers are, first-time home buyers, things like that, that just don't understand the process yet.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe when they were in college, they signed up for that credit card that got them a free T-shirt. That now they've ran up and have a $499 balance on a $500 limit credit card.
Mm-hmm.
So things like
Right.
that
Or
just
cash backs, or you get 10% off or 20% off
Right.
a sale today if you get your credit card.
exactly.
Right.
And people just aren't aware of how that impacts their credit score, and they just aren't informed enough to know the true process.
Right. One of the things I've noticed over 27 years of being married is that when I ask a question, it's always no. But if that question is asked at the checkout counter, it's always yes.
Well, sure. I would love to save 20%.
You would be shocked at clients I've had with the amount of retail stored credit cards that they've had in their history. I mean, just mine. We're talking
Lexi,
north
quit
of 20.
taking me shopping.
We actually can remember us doing the same thing. I mean, I can remember, I don't remember the exact number, but we still have the stack of credit cards
Yes.
in my drawer, in the safe actually.
There was 18 of them.
There was 18 of them. We had 18 credit cards, probably all of them completely maxed out at the time. And we're talking, we've been together 27 years, so
Yes.
probably 25 years ago maybe. And now we are actually down to one card, I believe it is, for ourselves personally. Yep, and then each one of our companies has a card. And we, as we said last week, we use them only for the airplanes, car rentals, hotels, emergency type stuff that we're out on the road and you get a flat tire type of thing,
To piggyback off of that,
Sure.
those folks that do have a lot of cards, if you are in the process of maybe getting a mortgage, get them paid down. But from all my research, leave them open at this
I was
time, because
going
if you
to ask
close
you
it, you
that.
could lose a valuable part of your credit score is credit history.
Yes.